start recording automatically. That's nice.
Did they get the Burgoyne's grass fixed yet?
The what?
The grass for the Burgoyne's.
No, he's going to do that last.
I wonder if it's going to be able to, what it's going to look like in the smoke.
Can't see me. He's gonna let you in.
Hi, Kathy. Hi, Jan. Hi, Steve. Dave. Hi, Dave.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hello, Matt.
We got Penn on and Daryl.
Oh,
Hey, Matt.
Hi.
Matt, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Just wait another minute or two and we'll get started.
Yeah. There we go.
Got about 18 people. Robin. Yeah, Daryl's on.
We're looking at the next like 5 years, where are we going to be, stuff like that. And at one point, it looked at will we be? Yeah, that's like the there was a time 75 was like right down the line. No, it's not. 70 is like that. 70 is my year. Like 12 years worth. Yeah, so now we're looking at it, like, what we do, how long, 10 years, as long as we still enjoy it, we're still enjoying it.
I'm just muting folks that have a lot of background noise and haven't muted themselves. Okay. Well, it's a few minutes after 5. Why don't we go ahead and get started? I'm here at the Town Hall boardroom with Lou Abertoni, Selectman.
Hello?
Hello.
I'm not sure. Let's see. I'm going to introduce. Let's see. Oh, I can't see everybody's name, but Kathy Heidel, Jan Wegman from Wright Pierce, David Levesque, Jim Gallagher, Tim from the River Grill, Daryl, who's a selectman, Lacey Primer from from Colton, Chase, Lacey, you're from Bright Pierce. Is
That's
that correct?
Yes, I'm with Right Pierce.
Yes. And then Colton just appeared in the spot that you were in. So Bernier from Chase. And is that Justin?
Yes, it is.
Okay, from Chase. And then Dean Jacobs, Leanna Libby, Penn Way, Dennis Hilton, Jamie Way, Allison Moore, Frida, and looks like Jenny is on now. Jenny Villeneuve, our attorney, our select woman, Robin Mayer, and who did I miss? I see an iPad and Migos.
Migos is Christy Jacobs.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Christine.
Yep.
And okay. So I thank you for taking time to call in, join the Zoom call. This is a pretty exciting project, I think, for all of us. It's something that has been talked about for years, probably since the early 1960s when the parking lot was built. The question of who is responsible for maintaining the sewer lines under that has been a disputed issue for quite some time, and that's in part due to differences in the deeds for the various properties and a variety of other factors. I believe that we're on the cusp of getting this issue resolved by virtue of the fact that we got some money from the Economic Development Administration. And that's, as you know, that's a $3 million grant that's going to pay for 80% of the costs of this entire project, including the sewer line project. So we're going to have, and I don't have my agenda with me, but we're going to have Jan start off giving us an overview of the project, and then turn it over to the contractor, Chase Excavating, and then we'll hear from Jenny Villeneuve, who's going to address any of the legal issues, the easement issues that we have outstanding. And then I also want to have Leanna chime in. The town through these project funds is paying for the bulk of the cost of the project. But then in order to have the new collector line that we're building replace the sagging collector line that's already there, the sanitary district is going to participate to make those connections. So it's certainly a combined cooperative effort here. So I'm going to turn it over to Jan Wegman from Wright Pierce, who's going to give an overview of the project, and I will give you the authority to show your design drawings there in a second. Let's see. Opens share screen. Okay, Jan, you do that now.
Okay. Thank you, Matt. Share that. Okay, can everybody see the screen, the plan that I had pulled up?
Yep.
Okay, great. The the project entails, as Matt had mentioned, it's putting in a new sewer collector line that is essentially going to pick up all the lines that currently cross the entire parking lot to get to the lateral that's at the south side of the parking lot along the river. And that line's going to be about 600 feet long, running all on the municipal property or within the municipal property. And then the replacement of the laterals that we show to the different buildings will occur on the municipal property. So the plan I have shows a yellow highlighted sewer line that runs through the center of the drawing. That's going to connect up into, it's going to start at a line that comes in from Main Street and goes into the pump station. And it's going to run through the parking lot up to the existing line that takes the sewage from Water Street down to the pump station as well. It's going to intersect that line and basically divert it so it runs this way and then into the pump station through that line from Main Street. The yellow line is the new sewer main that we're putting in, and there'll be one other chute that goes up into this area to pick up several laterals. I show a blue line, which is basically the extent of the ownership of the town's parking lot ownership, roughly. That's what the town owns, everything south of that line. And then there's various buildings along the other part. The sewer laterals are shown in this orange color. And those, what we're meant to do there is we're sending out new sewer laterals either from manholes or from the new line out to the vicinity of the property line where they'll intercept the existing lateral. In most of these cases, that's what they'll do. They'll intercept the existing lateral that comes through this area now and bring it to the sewer main. And in some cases, what happens, for instance, up in this area, there's a sewer lateral that comes down into by the old barber shop. It comes up and it collects several different lines on its way up through. And so we're replacing, and what we're doing is then we'll put a new line in here that'll then pick up these lines individually. So each service will have its own direct connection into either sewer main or a manhole. And that's basically go ahead. And that's basically.
Yeah, we don't have, I just want to point out the property where Taco Alley is, the town has an easement there for a walkway, but we don't
right up through here.
own
Okay,
that.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right. We can
Yeah.
change that. Well, I just, there is, yeah, you're right. You have an easement there. So I'll change that line so it comes straight across for clarity. But, and so that's basically the project. And the sewer district, we were going to stop the project here behind Rennie's and Waltz. And then the sewer district suggested that if we could tie in, we could make this connection here, that would get rid of an issue they have with the existing sewer main that runs down through here, where there's a sag in that line. And so the sewer district is picking up the cost for that particular piece. This is, again, this is going to solve a lot of problems in that some of these lines are very old that cross the parking lot. They could be subject to failure in the future, and they're also, some of them are clay lines which are prone to, taking groundwater in. And so what that does is it stresses adds additional water that needs to be treated by the sewage treatment plant and so forth. So hopefully this will be a benefit all around. Not to mention having new lines that would be hopefully easier to maintain. That's the overview of the project. We've bid the project out. We've got a contractor that's selected, Chase Excavation, as Matt had introduced a couple of folks from Chase. And they're looking, they'd like to start the project mid-October or so. So there's a relatively, it's coming up. It's going to be a relatively quick project. And we see it, we see it wrapping up hopefully by Thanksgiving is what the current, what it looks like currently. So that's generally the overall project. I think next on the agenda was Great Salt Bay Sanitary District. So Leanna, I don't know if you have anything to add. Then next on the agenda that Matt had put together is Chase Excavation, and they can run through their thoughts on the project and how they might want to approach it and that sort of stuff as well, in terms of little introduce themselves and maybe do some discussion around the project.
Well, this is Colton. I'm Justin. This is Colton. Colton's the project manager. I'm the owner. So Chase Excavating is out of Falmouth, Maine. I purchased the company. This is the second season that I've owned it, the fifth season that I've worked here. Before working at Chase, I worked for a bunch of large contractors. Big, heavy civil contractors doing $1 billion a year on a national scale, and then with a local company, the biggest one in the state in the southern Maine area for 10 years. And then I had an opportunity to buy this company, so I did that. And some of the teammates from the previous company came with me, and they're utility guys. They're geared towards utility work, so we're starting to chase more utility work. So when sewer jobs come up that are within our striking distance, we'd like to go after them. So that's why we wound up bidding your job. This should being in a parking lot, being out of the traffic, being able to stockpile our material right in the parking lot and run our loaders up to our excavators, and should be a pretty nice job. We should be able to move along pretty well. Obviously, water could be an issue, tides can be an issue, that can slow us down. As far as phasing, it's pipe work. You start low, you work high. So that's how it will go. What we do with the services all depends on where we intersect them as we're coming through. But we best case scenario, we run main line, we fall back, we run services. If we got to tie some services in as we're going, we'll do that, but our plan would be to run main line, then run services.
Good. I don't know if Jenny, if you want to, or Jenny, if you want to chime in now or not.
Okay. All right. So I think, Jan, thanks for putting the plan up. I think that's helpful just to give a good visual representation of the legal ownership. So the blue dotted line that's drawn in with as we discussed, with the exception of the Taco Alley extension there, everything to the south is municipally owned property at this time. The town originally acquired a couple parcels kind of in the center of the parking lot and over toward the wharf. Back in the, I guess it was in the 40s. And after that, in the 60s, some people on here might remember, and some people just might have been told, that the town in the 60s engaged in a municipal fill project and filled in and created what we kind of now know as the back parking lot. At that time, that is when the existing septics from all of the stores and the buildings that were along Main Street had their sewer pipes were mainly at that point overboard discharge. So the clay pipes and whatnot that Jan was talking about all ran kind of straight down into the river. We've obviously moved forward at this point from that sort of sewage disposal situation. Oops.
But I could not resist talking to you. I just can't.
Oh, someone's unmuted.
Oh my
So
God, if I see you, absolutely. I love you, baby.
Okay, I will.
I don't know if you can.
I will.
figure out who's-
I will. Okay, bye.
Okay, I think we're good. So after that, in the 60s, subsequent, there were basically 3 groups of exchange deeds that were done in the 60s. And so if I can put property owners in 3 different groups, I think that's the easiest way to think of it. The Stars, what's now the Stars property, and what's on this plan is Serendipity Gifts and Breakfast Place, but what's actually the Nickel building and the Way building, which is the smoke shop, and Wicked Scoops. Those were outlined in pink, and those 2 buildings in the 60s were treated slightly differently. For those buildings, the town of Damascus at that time actually obligated themselves to maintain sewer lines directly into those buildings because of the depth, I believe, of the fill project at that time in those locations. The rest of the properties, the town at that time either obligated itself to maintain the sewer lines up to the boundary of the parking lot, which is now represented in blue. Or in many instances, the fill project didn't impact certain properties, and so the town made no agreement with those individuals. And those would be the properties down toward the Gallagher property and what's now Oysterhead Pizza. And there are a couple others that the town made no agreement with. So we kind of move forward then, and those obligations get carried forward in the deeds, whether or not you see them in your deed currently. Sometimes things get dropped, but the obligation still lives there even if the mention isn't carried forward in the deed. So after much deed research, it turns out that this drawing essentially represents the municipal obligation being brought to fruition after much consternation and confusion. So we have the blue, like I said, the blue boundary, which is the municipal boundary, and it looks at this point, the way the plan has been designed and the construction has been designed, the project and all the project work is going to take place on municipal property, with the exception of the connection to the Way building, Way and Nickel, and I believe there's one other spot where it potentially crosses the Colby and Gale easement area. So those will be 2 areas where we'll be reaching out directly to the property owners to effectively memorialize, do what we call a confirmatory deed, to confirm the town's obligation to connect and maintain, and that's the same with Stars down on the end. And other than that, otherwise, it looks like, from what I'm being told by engineering and contracting, that all of the building construction and disruption is going to be able to happen on municipal property. So it looks like we're not going to need to do as much legal easement documentation work as some of these projects require. It looks like it's pretty neat and tidy. So from a title standpoint anyway. And that's it for me.
Let's go ahead and open it up for questions. If you want to jump in, or if you do the raise hand feature, I'll be watching from the control booth here.
Matt, maybe I'll just jump in. I have a question for the Chase guys. Can they talk a little bit about their work schedule? Will they be working in the evening? And I see on the agenda, it wasn't addressed, but how about access to the back of the buildings, especially the parking spots that are on the building side?
So we've agreed to, there's contractual work hours, and we're obligated to stay within those unless we make special arrangements for weather or whatever. We said we were going to hold to 7 to 5 is contractual, correct? Well, I believe the contract reads 7 to 5 or whatever's in the contract.
I believe you're right, Cool.
I think that's usually it's 7 to
Justin.
7, but I think this one was a little bit different, but that's all right. 7 to 5 this time of year will work. And then as far as access, you know, we're not gonna have 600 feet of trench opened up at one time. You know, it's a very slow process, right? A great day on a good sewer project is 200 feet a day. And even at that, you don't have 200 feet opened up at once. And this is not a 200-foot day. Well, I hope it is. I hope it's a 500-foot day job, but it's not. But in our active area, we will not allow people within the swing radius of the excavator. So 15 feet either side of that trench. Absolutely will not allow people within that area. But again, that's going to be contained to say a 100-foot area at a time. So if you look at the yellow line or the orange line, when we're working those areas, we'll keep people clear of our swing radius.
And as you move up the line, you'll let the building owners know?
You got it. And you'll just be able to tell. We'll have steel plates on site. We'll slap steel plates across that trench. We always have them with us for emergency access. So if we see an emergency access situation, we drop steel plates over the top of the trench, over our blocks, whatever it takes, they go over it. The backfill operation will be continuous along with the excavation operation. So as we're digging and moving dirt out of the new pipe trench, we're backfilling the previous pipe that's been placed. So we try to keep things going and as clean as possible. If things work out as planned, this will be a 2-crew job. One crew's backfilling while the other crew's digging, or one crew's digging, the other crew's backfilling. And we'll also keep our trenches paved up. We use Friday afternoons to get caught back up on the week's work, go back through, cut the trench down, get it paved up so everything's neat and clean for the weekend. We absolutely respect that that's an active workspace for business owners, and we'll do everything we can to minimize the disturbance. When we're going by, there's a disturbance. There's no way around it. But it's going to be it should be very quick. And even if it's not quick, it's not going to be very much open. The slower the job is, the less will be opened up at one time.
Great, thank you.
Other questions?
How are you today?
Matt, I had a question. Respects the cost to be assessed on the red lines that we see here. Are those expenses where it goes beyond the town ownership line? Are those expenses to be picked up by the storefront owners, or is that something that is going to be covered by the sanitary district or the town?
They show up as orange, I think, on mine, but those lines are going to be picked up by the project when it's on. That's a grant-funded project when it's on the town's land, the parking lot land, and then at those, I think, 2 points where it actually crosses onto private property, we have a separate fund set aside to cover that. And then the blue line is being paid for by the sanitary district. where's this, the blue line on here? No, I don't think so. But the connection, it's in on the right-hand side. It will be on the right-hand side of the drawing. Actually, it's, yeah, this yellow one right there. Yep, Jan's got that marked there. That portion that's, yeah, got the dotted line around it, the dashed line around it, that's going to be paid by the sanitary district, because that's an enhancement to their collection system, their overall collection line system.
So there's very limited amount of area where it might be the owner's expense
Yeah.
to attach.
It would only be the owner's expense if they decide that that's what they would like to do, if they want to continue into their building. And then they'll need to talk to the contractor directly to see if Chase is willing to do that extra work. So, yeah. But no, on this map is as with the highlighting, is a cost to the business owners.
Matt, could I just ask a question too?
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that there would be no disruption of service, correct? I mean, somehow you're going to get these all set, and then once they get connected, they'll be switched over without losing any service. Is that true?
Yeah. Justin or Colton, can you respond to that?
When we're actively working on your service, depending on the type of business that it is, if it's a heavy sewage user, we're going to talk to you guys and we're going to figure out a time that your usage is minimal during the working hours, and we'll try to hook your service up at that time. We do live. It doesn't sound very good, but it happens all the time. We do live hookups, live swap overs. It's much more fun when it's at a low flow situation than a high flow situation. But it's not the end of the world if the sewage is in use while we're doing it. But we're gonna look to minimize the usage, and it's a sanitary and a safety issue for the guys. There is safety precautions that you need to take when you're dealing, obviously, with sewage. So we look to do it at low flow times.
Thank you.
But we'll work, like I said, we'll work with you. This is the amount of services that are on this job is no problem. We can schedule and work with you guys on these, no problem. Usually on a run like this in the city, you'd have 4 or 5 times as many services and some very heavy users. So we should be able to work through this, no problem.
Some of this is residential, obviously. So I just wanted to make sure that was going to be relayed to us then. Thank you.
Yeah.
Matt, I have a question.
Yeah, Tim.
Okay, so I couldn't find the raise hand button, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
So and I'm probably, maybe it's a redundant question, but there's quite a few feet of what I believe clay pipes that my property has that would ultimately connect to where the orange line terminates. Do those need to be swapped out, or no? Do they need to be replaced, I guess, is my question?
Yes.
They do.
That's Leanna speaking, but that, in that area, your parking spaces there are town owned, but for the exclusive use of the businesses. And you've got that orange line that goes right up to the buildings. They're pretty close right up to the buildings. So it wouldn't be the connection into the building, but the project would be paying for that orange.
Which building is yours?
The Damascotta River Grill.
Okay. Yes, I spoke to you
Yeah.
a while ago. Yeah, there's an area where your line actually runs under Artsake. We spoke about that.
Yep.
And that's a real potential for problem. I would suggest that you run that back as far as you can to a solid pipe.
Gotcha. So I should be contacting Chase.
Yeah, they may do that for you. So,
Okay.
and what I've noticed is some of these buildings, like the Cottage Coffee, there has been done work along the back side of those buildings. They've had problems in the past, and some of them have brought pipe outside to the outside of the building. So they may find that there are some plastic Schedule 40 pipe in the ground by the buildings.
Thank you.
Allison, question?
Hi there. Quick question. I know that pretty much everyone's sewer lines have been scoped. Unfortunately, our building did not get scoped, or it wasn't able to be seen well. Is there a company that you guys used for that we can do that to get a sense of what our pipes look like to the town connection area, the orange line?
Boy, we had a hard time scoping those. We had Ted Berry do it. And there were so many lines that intertwined in there, and then we just couldn't get through them. Maybe when they're closer to the buildings, you may be able to do something from out in the parking lot, but from the buildings, we couldn't get through.
Okay, thank you. And I guess the second question would be more for the Chase folks. Is this something that you're willing to chat with building owners about as far as doing work to connect us up if we're interested in doing that?
We look at it as on a case-by-case basis as far as performing work on private property. I'm not saying no, put it that way. But it would be more case by case. Some of those buildings are older. Once we start moving towards excavation in an older building, the risk changes. And also, you need to be a licensed plumber in the state of Maine to work within 8 feet of the building on the sewer system, and that isn't anything that we carry a license on. So there's a little bit of conflict there. But we can point, if we choose not to perform that work, we can certainly point you in the right direction. And I mean, we're here to be part of the solution, not a problem. So we'll figure something out.
Hi.
And just a quick question from Penn Way. He asked about the timeline, and we talked about this a little earlier, where the contractor hopes to start by mid-October and then finish before Thanksgiving. So, okay, and Susan?
Yes, I have a couple of questions, and one is a statement. I have a planned event for use of that back parking lot that I own to the town side on the 24th of October. So we may need to discuss that, but that's a planned event. But when I'm looking at this map, I think it's a little old because the accessory shop is next to the Damascotta Grill. Would that be my building? Because I'm a little confused when I look at this map.
Your location is Two Fish.
My location is Two Fish.
Yeah, it's Two Fish. That's where you are.
Okay.
The names are obvious.
No, but there's also the accessory shop, and I'm directly.
Yeah,
okay.
you're in the Two Fish building.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have very little information about the work that was done in scoping and sort of tagging along with the previous question. So I don't really know what we learned about my building specifically. So I would like that information. And what I'm also hearing is that it is strongly recommended that we do work on our sewage pipes as they go through this process. But I don't even know where to begin. And as I have mentioned previously, I was not prepared to make this expense. So that's one thing. The other piece is is there a way to reasonably schedule with businesses when they're doing this? Because right now, I mean, you know, October, Thanksgiving, Christmas, that's something for us to work with in terms of retail and restaurants. But I can't use my deck, I can't use my back parking lot if it's got a bunch of stuff in it. And when March happens, nobody's here. So is that a consideration in this process?
As far as moving the project to later?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've had a really tough time here economically with tourism and COVID and all that hullabaloo. You know, you throw construction in it during work up to Christmas. I mean, Jesus, it's really unfair.
Well, that's why, you know, we're trying to get it done before Thanksgiving.
That doesn't help me because all of those months leading up to Christmas are big retail and restaurant months. March is not a big month.
And then we're looking at, as Justin was saying, we're looking at short section type at a time to maximize the availability of parking and accessibility.
Okay, so is there a way for business owners to coordinate with these workers so that our needs are met during this process? You know, like I said, I have an event planned for October 24th, and I've invested in that event, and I really can't, you know, it's something that my business is counting on.
Well, that's a Saturday.
Yeah, but if you have all your, if everything is dug up and all of your equipment is in the back parking lot, I can't use my back parking lot.
Well, I think,
right?
I think that your back parking lot, you're referring to the gravel lot that's behind your building?
Yes.
Okay. We don't have any work planned for that area because that's outside the town-owned property.
The middle of that is where the sewer pipe meets the parking lot. So you will be there because you've already marked it.
Is it marked in orange?
It's marked in white.
Yeah, if we're not doing anything in white.
Okay.
I see your sewer line goes out and it kind of ties into another line that eventually comes down next to where the future restroom site is.
Oh, hallelujah. Can't wait for that one.
Yeah, good. Hopefully that'll be coming soon as well. And so what we've shown is we've shown a connection from the main line in the parking lot up that'll connect into that line as it comes down next to the new restaurant, next to the new restroom.
Okay, so which color is that line? Maybe I'm confused. Is the yellow line what you're talking about?
No, it's
a yellow line.
This is your line currently.
Yes.
It runs this way,
Yep.
and then it runs down this way all the way out to the sewer. What
Okay.
we're planning on doing is intercepting that line here.
Okay.
And so that you'll still have this piece up here will still be in play. That'll still be working. So we'll pick it up here. We will be running a new line up here and a new line over this way and that way. It would be very easy for us to just to tie it in here, but because it's beyond the property line, we couldn't extend our line beyond that property line to pick that up there.
Okay.
So what we've done is chosen to pick it up here.
Okay. That's important. Scheduling is important. It's been a rough year for retailers. Thank you.
So, and we are trying to keep on a timetable. It's been, you know, a project we've talked about for many, many years. And the idea here is to get the line portion of the project done prior to the reconstruction of the drainage system and the reconstruction of the entire pavement surface, as well as the park improvements and the pedestrian walkway. So it's we don't want to delay this any more than it's already been delayed, because that just is going to push everything else back. So I think we're hitting at a relatively low time. It's kind of a mixed blessing. We don't have Pumpkin Fest this year, so in a way, we're kind of capitalizing on that cancellation. There were some messages that came up, and I'm sorry. I think I addressed the one with regard to the need to move ahead. And then Penn, you had a question that I missed here. If you want to send that again.
Matt, could I ask another question?
Oh, sure, sure.
I'm also curious about the power lines. Is this going to happen at the same time, or is this a separate project that happens?
The power lines would be a separate project. That'll be done as part of the entire reconstruction of the lot. So yeah, that's separate from this. This is just simply the sewer line.
Just the sewer. So do we have a timeline for that, do you think?
The timeline for that was hopefully this year. We hope to get the restroom started this fall and then completed in the spring. And then hopefully by next summer, we'll have a plan in place. Well, we'll have the plan in place this spring, and then next summer we'll be working on the balance of the project. So, and again, working with the businesses and your need to maintain a livelihood throughout. So that's all yet to be decided on the scheduling for that. But yeah, that the plan tentatively is to be able to start the and the parking lot reconstruction work and any flood resilience next year. Let's see. I'm just reading some of the notes here. Okay, yeah, I think I got the relation of work. And let's see. What's to keep water and sewer going for businesses and apartments? We addressed that. Will signage and paths be provided for businesses during the entire time? We'll have the large sign explaining what is going on, the EDA required sign. And if you have ideas on signage for the businesses, let me know, and we'll do that. I don't see, at least this initial project, sewer being that much of a disruption, except for a few days for each business. But let's keep in touch with you with regard to signage, and if there's directions needed to go on what path visitors, shoppers will need to go. And yeah, we'll keep in mind there are several businesses that are rear access only, so we need to definitely keep that in mind as the construction goes forward. And yes, definitely the parking lot is going to be kept open during that month. So that's why we're trying to project and as Justin was saying, keep only a certain amount of trenching going at one time. And as far as the private spaces go, as you can see from the map and the yellow line, for a certain period of time, those will be not accessible. So that's a matter of timing. If we're talking 200 feet at a time for the construction, that should not be too much of a burden, I hope. You make sure I got all the questions. Water service won't
Matt, I have a comment.
be affected. And then, okay. All right, I think we're okay on the other questions. If not, ask again. All right. Other questions? Okay, Susan has.
It'll be quick, I promise. So you just said water service will not be affected. Is there any kind of like flushing of, I have like 3 people living in my building. They're tenants. So are there periods of time where they will have poor water conditions or no water or no sewage? How do I let them know about that if that's the case?
I think Justin answered that earlier. He was going to try to work with all of the property owners to limit the to do the work adjacent to their property at low time usage frame at a time frames that were where there was low usage. But
okay, but I still I think it, just because I have people living in my building and they take showers at different times of day or cook at different times, I'm going to need to be able to have accurate information when you're doing the project so I can inform them of that.
Susan, I'll be on that job very often. You'll have my cell phone number. I'll get with you, get yours.
Yeah, I just want to give them a heads up. That's all.
Yeah. And that heads up is going to be probably 24 hours. There's not a lot of pre-planning. Some days go good, some days go poorly. And honestly, in residential situations, it's no big deal. It sounds a little bit funny, but we can hear it coming. All right. When you flush the toilet, we get a good 15-second heads up. So we move out of the way, clear the lines, it goes into the ground, we don't worry about it, and then you hook the pipes up. It's not the sewage hookup, we try to limit the flow for our guys, but we hook them up live too. And on your water, there should be no impact to the water. If there's an impact to the water, it's because there was a conflict with the piping, or water service got mismarked and we ripped it out. And unfortunately, there's no heads up on that. But we shouldn't be getting into the water services. So
okay,
no disruption on the water and the sewer. It'll be very minimal. We'll give you a heads up, and it's a very, very, very fast hookup. I'm not talking about no sewer for a day, no showers for a day. It's hey, you're going to be coming through here these couple hours. That's it.
They're paying me, and also my business is water based. I do coffee and tea.
Yep.
And these people are paying. I pay all the utilities. They pay me rent. So I really need to know. That's important. So thank you.
Yep. Yeah. No, I'll hook up with you when I get there, and you can have direct communication to myself, and the superintendent will be on site. Is a great communicator too. So he'll be informing all the businesses when we're coming by.
Matt, you're muted.
Matt, you're on mute.
Penn, did you have another question? No, I'm not seeing. I am not seeing any other questions. Okay. Okay, there's a chat. Okay, it just, um, let me see. Yeah,
Hands up.
That's okay.
here's on the cell numbers. We could get the cell numbers for the contractor or who's ever in charge. Good, and yeah, and then Penn says everyone works from home during COVID. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll try it. We'll get cell numbers for you. And then, yeah, I can't see all the hand.
Hi, one more
Okay,
question.
Susan, go ahead. Yeah.
My question is, every time I've ever had like a contractor work on a building, I've lived in a lot of older houses, things happen that you cannot begin to anticipate. It always happens. My question is, and pardon the vernacular, should the ultimate shit show occur, are we prepared with being able to act quickly, or if some damages occur to property owners, are we ready to compensate them or deal with those issues?
That's certainly a tough one to answer. I'm hoping that we don't have the issues that you're referring to, and this particular project should be pretty straightforward. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what they are, Susan, if they do occur.
I'm not asking you to see into the future. I'm just asking if the town is prepared to has the financial backing and the insurance to compensate people should this become a problem. Whatever unforeseen, like our business, I just want to know that there's a little cushion there should something happen that we did not see coming. That's what I'm asking.
The project does have a contingency account for unanticipated expenses.
Okay. Thank you.
Susan, all contractors, when you enter into a contract such as this, you have to post a bond. You have to show that you carry a certain amount of millions in insurance. You're very smart to ask that question, and all contractors that are qualified to bid on a project such as this, any sort of public work, we all carry large insurance policies. This is a risky industry. The risk is not usually outside of the job or to the existing structures. The risk is more in the work and the traveling public usually, because we're in the street. But our insurance covers us for those types of events, and I've been involved in them, and people are taken care of.
Thank you.
Yep.
For some reason, I can't pull up gallery view. So if anyone has any questions in there, raise their hands, just please speak up.
Matt, I just had a comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Some of these buildings have sump pumps in the basements, and those are not supposed to be tied into the sewer. It gives us water that we don't need to be treating. It overloads our system. And at the point that the town puts the new catch basins in, the owners should be aware that they're going to have to remove those from the sewer. I'm not going to ask that they do it now because there's no place for that water to go. But when the catch basins are done, they are going to have an alternate route. And not everyone has them. They're just a few buildings that do.
And you're talking about sump pumps that are pumping.
Sump pumps that are hooked to the sewer.
To the sanitary sewer line. Yeah, that's.
Okay. I just want them to be aware of that.
Okay. Okay. See, anything else? All right. Well, I really have to say I appreciate your patience and your understanding in this. I know there will probably be glitches, as Susan said, but I hope they're not something that we can't handle fairly easily. I don't know why. Okay, I see. You get a picture of the table here for me. So, yeah, I think, yep, I'm back. So, yeah, I appreciate your patience, and there will be some inconvenience, no doubt about it. But this project is long overdue, and I think it's something we're all going to be happy to have behind us and have accomplished this. So, if Jenny has any further contacts or any other issues with any of you individually, she'll give you a call, and I'll talk with Colton and Justin about getting their contact information so that you all can reach them directly if need be. So,
we
and
can
then
send
Jan,
that to we can send that right to you tomorrow, so that you guys can get that distributed out. We already know who's going to be on the job and whose numbers you should have. So.
Okay, thanks, Justin. And we do have an inspector. That person is Lacey, I believe, who's on the line, and so we'll have somebody on site representing the town through the engineering firm that's doing this. So if there's any issues, let that person know, or certainly give me a call if you have any concerns as we get into this. But
I can send you guys my email address and phone number as well in case you need to get in touch.
Okay, Lacey, very good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll continue. If you haven't been getting my emails on this particular project, send me your email address and I'll include you on my email list to keep you updated. So, all right, thank you. Thank you all. If there's no other questions, just
Thanks, Matt. Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you for the.
Thanks, Matt.
Have a good evening.
Sure.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
See you guys.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.